Elected district leader. I've been elected twice now. In 2004, when no other South Asian, I'm the first South Asian to be elected a district leader from tertiary politics. And I'm the first one that got that banner through and broke the barrier. And then I was elected last year to another assembly district, so I hold a somewhat of a record. I'm the only person to be elected twice in two different district leader posts, Assembly 38 and Assembly 24, and we're fighting very hard with the discipline. But I want to introduce a young man tonight in addition to what we're doing who emboldens and shows us what we can do with power. And his name is Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani, give him a round of applause, is one of the most popular, hard-working and inspirational leaders of his generation in New York State and in Queens. And he has led the fight in every way. In civil rights and civil liberties and minimum wages and just about every part of human dignity, Zoran has stood up and we're very proud of him. So now that we've assimilated, now that we've got there, I want to tell you something. You don't have to wait on any organization if you want to run for office. I'm an attorney and I ran because I wanted to help my fellow man. So you don't have to wait on anyone to endorse you, to push you, or wait in line. As long as your heart is there, that is the major qualification. You can do it on your own. And I've done that because nobody else thought about this, even before Asal. 2004, ladies and gentlemen, we're going back a long way. We'll take that dream forward and take it with you and make sure that you can become elected, you can continue to count, you can be the voice of others, and you, brother, can make changes. So let me call Zoran Mamdani, like I said, the face of empowerment, the man who's manifested. Is a manifestation of our efforts, so to speak. And Zoran, thank you very much for doing the great work.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Namaskar. Kemonaso Tashidele. My name is Zoran Mamdani. I don't think I can live up to the words that have just been said about me. But I am the assembly member for the 36th district in Astoria in Northwest Queens. I am proud to be the first South Asian man elected to the New York State Assembly. And thank you. But I will always know that pride, that possibility is only possible because of the people who came before me, the people like the ones right here on the stage, people who are right here in this hall. Asal has been organizing for longer than I even knew what the New York State Assembly was. It is very, very important that we understand that our power comes from our organization. It does not come from any elected official. It does not come from people telling us it's the right time to start organizing. It comes from ourselves when we move together as one. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here at Asal. I just want to say a few things before I hand it over to my far more decorated and respected colleague, Karines Reyes. You know, South Asians are a critical part of our city's cultural fabric. We are a critical part. Many people know who we are, many people know of our community, but we have not had representation in our chambers of power. And the consequences of not having that representation is that issues that disproportionately impact our communities have been left at the margins. They've been left aside. I moved to this city when I was 7 years old. And in the more than 20 years that I have been a New Yorker, the plight of New York City cab drivers is one that I have known well. Because to be South Asian in New York City is to understand that that is an industry that South Asians drive. 40% of New York City cab drivers are of South Asian origin. First nation of origin, Bangladesh. Pakistan. Yes, we can have a round of applause for Bangladesh. Then Pakistan, India. Our brothers and sisters from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Guyana. There's so many different places where our cab drivers come from, but we know that it's a critical part of the South Asian experience. And for decades we saw as those issues were ignored. And I am so proud to tell you that after decades of organizing, decades from the New York Taxi Workers Alliance led by the intrepid Bhairavi Desai, that we have come to a place where we have secured more than $300 million in debt relief. $300 million. And there will be many people who will try and tell you the story of that relief is one of one mayor or another mayor who took kindness and pity upon our community. But the truth is that South Asians organized for that victory. We organized for that victory, and it should never be forgotten. In February, Bill de Blasio came up to Albany and said he had a relief plan for South Asian drivers. It was insufficient, and we told him that. We organized for months, spent 45 days consecutively outside of City Hall with rallies and press conferences. We got arrested outside of City Hall. And then I, along with many others, drivers and allies as well, went on a 15-day hunger strike. And on the 15th day, on November 3rd of 2021, the mayor came outside to an agreement with the union. And I tell this story because we must understand that as many politicians come to these stages and as many politicians tell us that they love the South Asian community, we want to see that love in action. We want to see that love in policy. We want to see that love in dollars distributed to our community members. And we have secured more than $300 million that they said they could never get to our communities. Whoa. And we did that because we did not take no for an answer. So, when Mafunkel asks about what we're going to do to fight for gig workers, when people have a question about how we will represent South Asian laborers, the South Asian struggle, we must know that though we will be the ones asking the question, it is not going to be the people in power who will give us the final answer. We will get the answer we deserve, and we will get that answer through the work that we will put in the chambers of power in Albany and City Hall and out there in the streets. So thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here with you. These are the struggles we have had over these last few years. There are many, many more to come. Know that I will be there with you. I am in such gratitude to be here in the company of so many who have done so much for years far beyond mine. I see Astoria Welfare Society here, Astoria, which is my district, and this is an organization that it makes sense to see them here at ASAL because they keep people fed, they keep people whole, they keep people believing, and that is what ASAL does for so many others. So let's have a round of applause for ASAL. And now I will ask if you can please join me in a round of applause. First, in our hopes that Morocco wins the semifinals on Wednesday. We know it's going to be the first time an African team, an Arab team, a Muslim team goes all the way in the World Cup. We know it's going to happen. And now an even louder round of applause for Karines Reyes. Come on up. Karines is a dear friend, but more importantly, Karines is someone I look to when I want to understand how do we win for working people in Albany, and how do we make sure that our principles make power bend. Karines does that work.
Thank you, Zara. Zara and I talk about soccer and the Morocco team all the time. So we were very happy yesterday.